Your spiritual radar is not just intuition. It is a supernatural sensing mechanism gifted to you by divine design. It functions as a protective force, alerting you to danger, manipulation, deceit, and energetic interference before any of it becomes obvious to the average person. You've likely experienced moments where someone entered a room and without a word you felt something was off. Your body tensed, your spirit stirred, your energy shifted. That was your spiritual radar detecting something beyond the surface, something cloaked in polite smiles or masked intentions. People around you may think you're paranoid or overly sensitive, but the truth is, your senses are far more attuned. You're able to feel what others ignore. You can read energy, decode silence, interpret body language, and sense unspoken thoughts, like a spiritual detective. While most operate from what they can see, you operate from what you can sense. And that gives you an advantage in any environment. This radar was not developed overnight. It was forged in the fire of trials, betrayals, heartbreaks, and spiritual warfare. Every hardship fine-tuned your perception. Every disappointment sharpened your inner awareness. Your discernment became your shield, and now you walk into places already knowing who is real and who is fake. This isn't arrogance or suspicion, it's divine awareness. You don't just observe people, you see through them. You don't wait for people to show their true colors. You already feel the vibration of their soul before they utter a word. That is why you're misunderstood. That is why people feel uncomfortable around you. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your energy holds a mirror to their intentions. And that mirror reflects things even they are not ready to face. People have tried to challenge your perception. They've tested your spiritual radar on purpose, presenting themselves as something they're not to see if you'd fall for the illusion. They pretended to be for you, spoke with sweet words, acted with gestures of kindness, all while hiding jealousy, envy, competition, or ill will. But they underestimated your awareness. You might have smiled, nodded, or said nothing, but inwardly, you already knew. You could sense the contradiction between their energy and their words. You could feel the dissonance in their presence. And instead of reacting or confronting, you often chose silence because silence is your protection, your power, and your strategy. You observed, you prayed, you watched things unravel. Every time your radar proved accurate. Sometimes, even when people try to hide their intentions behind spiritual language or performative kindness, you still see the truth. This is what truly scares them, your ability to remain calm while knowing everything. You don't always speak on what you know, but you know. You've learned not to expose everything you discern, because not everyone is ready to hear it, and some don't deserve the access. Your spiritual radar helps you discern not only danger, but also divine connections, hidden opportunities, and moments of transformation. 8. It's a navigation system that aligns with your purpose. It tells you when to walk away, when to stay, who to trust, and when to be still. You're no longer governed by appearances or smooth words. You've trained yourself to listen with your spirit, not your ears. That's why some people can't manipulate you. That's why you're never fully caught off guard. That's why people who come with false motives feel uncomfortable in your presence, because your energy carries the authority of truth, and truth is disruptive to the fake. The people who tried to test you were unaware of the power you carry. Your silent strength unsettled them deeply. They saw your kindness and mistook it for weakness. They noticed your quietness and assumed you were naive. They watched your humility and believed you could be played. But what they didn't realize was that your calm demeanor was never an absence of strength. It was the full display of it. You weren't quiet because you didn't know what was happening. You were quiet because you already knew. They approached you thinking they were the puppeteers and you were just another string to pull. They came with masks and hidden motives, believing you were too slow, too trusting, or too nice to catch on. But the moment your spirit locked into their true nature, their plan began to collapse. You didn't have to argue, fight, or expose. Your energy did all the talking. What frightened them wasn't what you said, but what you didn't say. Your silence screamed through the room. Your presence confronted their false confidence. They tried to poke holes in your character, test your boundaries, plant seeds of doubt, or trigger an emotional response, but you remained composed. And that composure made them question themselves. People like that often rely on control, on manipulation, on chaos to stay in power. But when you don't react, when you don't give them the satisfaction of confusion or submission, they start to panic. Your refusal to respond in the way they expect reveals how powerless they actually are. That's what scares them. They realize they have no hold over you. You've seen too much. You've grown too strong. You've evolved beyond their tricks. Your spiritual strength is not something loud or showy. It's not about dramatic declarations or visible resistance. It's an internal fortitude, a divine confidence that doesn't need validation. That energy, that quiet conviction, speaks volumes. When people enter your space with hidden intentions, they feel that resistance immediately. It's like a spiritual firewall they weren't expecting. They thought they could manipulate you with charm or confuse you with lies. They assumed you'd play along, but instead they ran into something far more powerful, your unshakable truth. They didn't realize that your silence was loaded with discernment, that your soft demeanor carried the weight of divine insight, that every word you didn't say was a sword cutting through their illusions. They came to test you, but ended up exposing themselves. They thought they could hide their envy behind fake praise, but you sensed it. They thought they could win your trust with surface-level gestures, but your intuition dug deeper. The moment you stared back with stillness in your eyes, they felt like they were being seen, truly seen, and that scared them. Because being seen by someone who knows their true intentions leaves no room for pretending. Your ability to see through the mask, to call out spiritual energy without words, is what makes you different. It's why people either respect you deeply or fear you secretly. Your presence alone becomes a mirror that forces them to confront who they really are, and for those who aren't ready to face themselves. That experience is terrifying. You don't even have to lift a finger to shift the atmosphere. It's just by being present, by walking in alignment, by carrying the authority of your calling, you shift energies and disrupt manipulation. They wanted to play mind games, but you don't live in your mind, you live in the spirit. They wanted to test your limits, but didn't know you were limitless in God. Your power is not in your volume, but in your vibration. It's not how loud you speak, but how deeply your energy resonates. Being chosen means you don't need to react loudly. Your presence alone exposes truth and shakes darkness. There is a divine authority that follows you, a quiet force that commands attention without seeking it. You walk into spaces and the atmosphere shifts, not because you've said anything, but because of who you are. Your energy confronts every hidden lie, every masked agenda, and every false spirit without uttering a single word. People look at you and feel seen in a way that makes them uncomfortable, not because you judge them, but because your spirit carries light, and light always exposes what tries to hide in the shadows. That's why people with impure motives feel nervous around you. They can't explain why they're uneasy, but something about you feels like truth standing in the flesh. You don't seek to call people out, yet your energy naturally reveals everything fake around you. When you are chosen, your life is not governed by external noise. You're not moved by gossip, lies, or envy. You don't chase validation, approval, or revenge. Instead, you let God do the revealing. You've learned that your stillness is more powerful than any confrontation. You've experienced how remaining quiet during chaos often brings more clarity than reacting in emotion. Your power lies in your restraint. You're not loud, but your silence speaks volumes. You don't expose others with your words, but your presence causes them to expose themselves. It's as if the light inside you holds a mirror up to every spirit near you, and those who aren't ready to face their truth will try to avoid you or attack you. You've become aware that your mere existence challenges people. You don't even have to try. Your spirit disrupts things that are not in alignment. You have a deep inner peace that confuses people. While others are busy trying to compete, provoke, or test you, you remain centered and composed. That calmness is not passivity. It's divine control. You know that God fights your battles, so you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. That confidence in the unseen, that trust in divine timing, is what makes you a threat to darkness. Those who walk in pretense can't handle being around someone who walks in truth. People feel convicted around you, not because you say anything judgmental, but because your authenticity shines a light on their performance. Your consistency reveals their instability. Your focus highlights their distractions. Your humility exposes their pride. This is why the chosen are often isolated, misunderstood, or targeted, not because the